Wait, are we live?
We are live, all you profitable stylists and all you future profitable stylists. We are debunking hair extension myths. All these crazy, wacky ideas that all of you come up with and start talking about online, and then all of a sudden believing it to be fact. That's what we're going over today to tell you, oh man, only one of them is a fact. Everything else is a myth. Good morning, Bernard.
What I enjoy about being an old man in this industry, I hate it when people say been there, done that, or good old days, or they don't. The good days are right now. I enjoy where I'm at in life. I enjoy knowing the past. And so many of these myths, I got to actually live through them. I'd like to tell the audience I have no idea what they are, what you're going to say. So I'll have true reactions to this. But I already know so many, like just the 3-layered haircut. People, I say myth, but I watched it turn into a style or a trend from what's called just mistakes. Stylists are not really understanding how layers work. Some and a lot do, but I'd say most don't. And they pull the hair straight up, they layer it here, they let it fall, and they got these 3 strong points on. How do you do 3? Like 3 strong points. I didn't want my middle finger to pop up, happening down the side. And it's like the bangs, this section and this section, because of the way the hairline goes, are pronounced down here. And then people say, oh, I love your haircut. Who did it? And then they name it the 3 layers. And that was never intentional. Then people start coming out with videos teaching the 3-layered cut.
How to do it on purpose.
How to do it. And so I love seeing and recognizing the mistakes or the mess ups, and then they become the thing, or this whole trend of messy hair from from this gutter punk scene from way back when. I'd go down to Bourbon Street and they'd have gutter punks with different colored hair. Then all of a sudden it happens in Hollywood. And I'm like, which came first? Did Hollywood get it from the poor kids on the street, or did the poor kids on the street get it from Hollywood? I think it's fascinating how trends get started, where they get started. You don't always know for sure, but sometimes you see it happen. And a lot of times it's just a freaking mistake. And then people run with it. And
those are my favorite, when somebody makes a mistake and then they play it off like it was a meant to be thing. And then everybody else is jumping on trying to figure out how to do it.
Yeah. So what's one of the big ones you got for a question?
So I've got this broken up into a couple of categories. This is some overall foundational myths. Then I got some from hairdressers. I got some from clients. And then I got some from social media and trends. So to start off with, let's start off with just general, your good old-fashioned myths. Hair extensions ruin your natural hair. Innately, hair extensions are bad.
Yeah, just damage. Right. And that's the most common one. I just had I posted something online recently, me putting some O-tips in, and this one girl just comments, and it's Brennan's work, on a real client. So the lady's hair is kind of sparse, and it's hard to get a straight, clean line because she has a lot of shedding going on naturally all the time. It's how she started from us. So he has a pretty jagged, parted line, so it doesn't look perfectly neat. And I just show some close-up work of it. And, it's funny because I post it on multiple pages, profiles, and groups, stories, reels, short stories, anywhere and everywhere that Facebook allows me and recommends it. And most of the comments were pretty positive and good and loving it. And then this one girl in one place says, ooh, not good. I'm like, in what way? And she said, those messy sections are going to cause so much damage. And I mean, I've been doing this a long time. Looking at it, I'm thinking it looks like really good work. It would not cause damage. And this client's been to us multiple times, over a year, I think. I didn't want to post that because I didn't know for sure because I don't do her hair, but I know she's bought hair more than once and the hair lasts close to a year. So I'm thinking, God, she's probably been coming here 2 years. getting the same, not the same, but the same style of hair extension
Right.
over and over. If there was damage, she would not be coming back, first of all. So the proof is in the timing, right? But I took a chance and I answered back. You know, the first thing I do is I look back at who is this person and how many followers do they have? How long have they been doing hair? She looks pretty young. So I first think, how much experience could she have? I mean, young people can get a lot of experience if they get real busy really quick. So this is not a blanket statement that young people know nothing, but it's just one of the factors that goes in, right? She's young, maybe no experience. She's got 300 friends on Facebook. She's no influencer. She's got no before and after hair extension pictures on her Facebook profile. So I'm thinking, where's this authority coming from? So I said something like, nope, no damage at all. Look at all the hairs in each individual section that are holding the extension. They're all going in natural fall. Oh, and she said something about not enough hair to support the weight of what's going on. And so that was interesting to me, because you know what that said to me? It was part of I'm looking at one of the mannequin heads is right over here, where I compare K-tips to O-tips. And one of the big differences in K-tips and O-tips is because the O-tip is rounded and around the section of hair, it flares out more. And I think it looks bigger and thicker and heavier overall.
Okay.
So they think it's way more hair than it actually is. It just flares out and gives a bigger, better appearance, more like a flat tip over a round tip. And so that was interesting, because it was insight for me at the same time, because I do always like to try to reflect on every comment, good or bad. Like, am I missing something? Did I do something wrong? Do I need to improve? And so that's why I look at their history too, just to kind of see if they're an authority in the field. And I didn't see where she was necessarily. I still would have answered the same, but I'm just kind of curious. And, it was really neat, because then I get a thumbs up from her saying, yeah. So I was like, oh, I educated someone, and they were humble enough to take the education. I said, nope, no damage at all. Every hair in every section is in a natural fall downward position. So none of the hairs are stressed. And an O-tip, because the hair goes around it and flares out, looks like more hair than it actually is. So it's not as heavy as you think. The weight of the hair compared to the weight of the section holding it matches. And this client's been doing this for over a year and has no damage. So she's been happy. So the proof is in the length of time she's been wearing it. And she's like, I look at the thumbs up, and you don't know till you click on it. So I'm like, who's thumbs upping this? And I look, and it was her. So she was like, oh, okay, I've been educated.
Right, yeah.
But that lends to the fact that people just immediately go to, and she's a hairdresser. So immediately go to the fact that I've heard hair extensions are damaging. I look at something, doesn't look pretty. It could have been straighter, smoother rows, partings. And so Brendan could have did a smoother parting, possibly.
Maybe but you don't know the situation, because we're not part of that consult. So we don't know what's going on. And, there's a method to the madness. He's not a messy stylist. He's very meticulous with his work. So for you to say to me, he had a messy parting, there is something going on that forced him to do that, because either there wasn't enough hair, or some of that hair was too compromised to attach to, or like there was a decision. If it's Brennan, you're telling me did it, there is a reason why he did that.
Right.
He did that with
that girl doesn't know it. So, but
she doesn't overall, know Brennan,
overall hair extensions are done by so many stylists in the world that do extensions incorrectly, no training, do a bad job. There are a lot of ways where it can be done wrong, and it can cause damage, so that you just got that, it gets that reputation out there. Mm-hmm. Because it's almost like a hair system or a hair piece or a toupee on a man. People say, they all look terrible and fake. Well, not the ones that don't. And then you don't know. So you don't know to talk bad about it. Similar to extensions. If it's a really good job and you don't know, no damage, no looking bad, no talking bad about it. So you don't talk bad about it. And so the only ones that get publicity are the bad ones.
The bad ones.
So then all are bad. Yeah, all the bad ones are bad, and that's the only ones you know about. So you think they're all bad. And so that's the difficulty here. Nobody's really, not enough people are showing the good jobs. And that's why I like that guy that we promoted recently who's doing a pretty good job and charging $9,000 for extensions. And they look really good. And he's fixing people's bleached hair because he's.
So that's actually a good one that you bring up, because the next one is still to this day, you talk to clients at the salon and they say, oh, hair extensions is too expensive. Only celebrities can afford hair extensions. People still think like this.
Yeah.
They're thinking full head. They're thinking full volume. You know, a lot of people don't realize you could do partials now. You could do segmented areas.
You could always do that. That's the problem.
But nobody ever knew, because everybody, again, like you're mentioning about the bad hair extension jobs, the only hair extension jobs that people were showing off was, look, I put in this full head and look at all this length, look at all this volume, look at all this fullness, you know? So that's became a thing. Only people think about hair extensions is for full length and a full head of hair.
Well, I always said that it was a terrible name. You know, I guess it was a good marketing name up front because that's how the companies like us sold more hair probably. But before we sold it, somebody had to come up with a marketing idea, and making somebody's hair long was the exciting thing, right? Mm-hmm. Like, wait, what? We could only make hair shorter and thinner for the longest time. Now we can make it longer and thicker through adding hair, extending. But then shortly after, people were like, oh, we could just thicken, we can highlight, we can low light, we can fix a bad haircut, we can frame the face, we can do color framing around the face, all with extensions. And it wasn't all extending. So that's what I started getting on my soapbox about it being a terrible name at some point. Hair extensions says one thing. It doesn't describe it in all the ways that the product can be used. And so I just hate the word extensions. I hate it because it doesn't say everything it can do. And so to me, I heard in a sales seminar one time that you shouldn't use industry standard words. Mm-hmm. In your field, you shouldn't use the big words that the customers don't know the definitions to. And I think hair extensions is kind of in a gray area, because I think a lot of people think they know what the word means.
They think,
and that is the problem. So to me, it's more like, look at the client, what's the problem, or listen to the client and hear the problem and solve it. And sometimes solving the problem is with hair extensions. Often solving the problem is with hair extensions. But the problem is not always short hair. It's so many things. Hair extensions can solve so many things. And so then, oh my God, it makes me so mad. I always said that just imagine that your client has the word hair extensions on the phone, in that game, on their forehead. And I'm sure somebody's going to put it in the comments here what the name of that game is. But you can't say that word, hair extent. You can say hair. You can't say extensions. So when you look at that client, you're like, oh, this is how I could solve her hair with extensions. What is it solving? Let's talk about that with the client. Are you having a little problem with thinness? Would you like to make your hair a little thicker? Oh my God, I would love to have my hair thicker. Have you looked into how you can have this conversation? How could you do it? Have you looked into how to do it? What are your options? What have people told you the options? What have you researched? What do you think the options are? What YouTube videos have you watched, or TikTok or Instagram? What do you think are your choices out there? Let them say. They might say, I thought about hair extensions. But if they never say hair extensions, that just proves that they have no idea that extensions could be the thing to just thicken their hair a little bit. Add some non-chemical highlight. Well, I'm allergic to color and I've always wanted highlights. Ding, 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 ding. There's so many like buzzwords, keywords, trigger words that you should be hearing that says, I could put more hair in her head. I mean, almost every single client, or I should say almost every single lady, would love their hair a little thicker on the sides. And so just one pack of hair. One weft cut in half and put a little on each side. I mean, one weft around the whole head at the same length as their hair. You know what? I'm going to go a tiny bit further, and I hope this doesn't. One of what I love about this, because we just did it recently, and I've done it with 2 different stylists, and they were blown away. And one was Alexis. We were talking about adding a little hair. And I said, you know what's good about this? You don't have to match her color. It wasn't Alexis. It was my daughter-in-law, Mallory. And she goes, what do you mean? I said, well, this girl has pretty long hair. But when Mallory was pregnant, this model went to another hairdresser, had some damage, hair gotten a little thinner, but she still had a lot of, probably still 50-60% of her strands made it down to about the 18-inch length of extensions. So I said, there's no like her hair here and then extensions going past it where there's going to be this line that the 2 colors need to blend. We're not passing that. We're adding quite a bit of hair, but it's mostly for thickness. It'll look longer because her thin hair looks short because it's so thin. But as we add thickness, it'll look longer, but we didn't pass the line of her hair. So it doesn't matter what color we add. We're adding color more than extensions because we're not extending anything. We're extending some hairs, but not the overall length of the hair. So the power was like, it was so freaking easy because that's one of the biggest problems is that color blend line. Yeah. So it didn't matter where it was put. It didn't matter what color. It was more like, let's get some colors close. And then do you want to be a little more of a blonde or a little more of a brunette? Because she was kind of in the middle. She's like, I'd like to be more blonde, but I just don't think my hair can handle it right now. It can handle it in extensions. So the power that Mallory learned in that, she's like, oh my God, I learned so much about placement. And then the color not needing to be so perfect. That was so much easier because she almost wanted to go at 22-inch hair, and then that would have added a level of difficulty. We would have needed more hair because the longer hair gets, the thinner it is on the ends, and down past that 18-inch mark, it would have been a little stringy with the amount of hair we put on her head. We'd have had to add more hair, more money at a higher price because it's longer hair, which is more expensive. So, I mean, everything just got more and more difficult, right? But at 18-inch, every little bit we added made a difference in a positive direction and left out a lot of the negative things that go along with bad extension jobs. Whew, that was a lot.
But look, you just covered a couple of more baseline myths about adding length, about you can't color, you can't combine it with other services. So you just covered a whole bunch of things there. I was wondering if I was going to hit a bunch of other. Go with it because that's one of the things. So then the last one in the general myths is hair extensions look too fake. They're way too obvious. There's no way hair extensions could look natural.
Like mine. I got this.
Yeah. And this kind of, we were kind of talking about this with the 3-layer haircut. That's one of the big problems, If it's styled wrong, if it's cut wrong. This is one of the things I teach in color classes a lot. And in styling classes, well, I guess in all classes, really. It doesn't matter how good of because when a stylist says to me, I'm a perfectionist, and I go, shut up right now. And get the hell out of here with this perfectionist mentality. I don't care how meticulous you are at foiling, installing hair extensions, cutting hair. If you cannot blow dry and style to save your life, then your perfect service is going to look like crap. And then conversely, you could be the best styler in the world and you could do the worst job ever. But because you could style hair really nice, it's going to look good by default. Whatever bad haircut, color, or hair extension job you did is going to look good by default. And she's like, oh, no, that's not true. That's not true. I says, look, man, classic example. Show me one Instagram picture that doesn't have, of a balayage that's not pre-waved beachy curls or some, show me a pin straight, free-handed balayage highlight. Like you can't do it. They don't exist because it would show the discrepancies of the harshness of a balayage. When it's curled, it looks amazing. You got to finish it well. So it comes down to the same thing. If, you think hair extensions look fake, it's because like we were talking about earlier, you see the bad ones. That's the ones we talk about are the bad ones. So yes, the bad ones look fake. And yes, the bad ones are bad, like you were saying earlier.
And why can some of the bad ones look bad? I'd like to kind of cover some of that. There's a few things, and one is, I'm embarrassed to say, in the very early days, I was one of those hairdressers not as experienced in the color world. I was really weak in color the first few years. So I'm getting into hair extensions before I'm really that good at color. So I don't really get that color can severely change the feeling of hair. And so I didn't realize, I didn't pay attention much in school. I just wanted to get out of there, you know? And so I was not a good student in the very beginning. I became a good student after school when I started to care more. But at first it's just like, I want to get out of my parents' house. I want to make some money so I can survive, so I can do these things I like. And then I start to realize, as I'm doing extensions, some of them tangle really bad. Some don't. Some are 100% synthetic, not even real hair. And so I start to realize just how many choices a hairdresser, or potentially a client, a lot of times they don't know either, though. But even hairdressers, we live in a different world now. We didn't have social media when I was getting started. So there was not that quick, easy, fast knowledge about all the different options out there. So I had a slow learn. It was a slow burn on figuring out, oh, I can, some companies care more about how they process the hair. They care more about where the hair comes from. The cuticles go in the same direction. They color it in such a way that the quality stays high. And if I buy their hair, I'll have less problems. Some hairdressers are on that journey right now. And you all know the journey you're on right now. You know if your hair is having problems with the color fading, the hair tangling, the extensions falling out because of the process or the technique method that you're using, or the fact that your friends are doing this technique successfully, but you're not, because you're just not that good at it yet. And so you need more practice doing it, or you need to be buying a better technique or better hair. And so everybody's on that journey. And I guess I said, you all know, I bet a lot of people don't realize where they're at in that journey till they get to a certain level. And then they are able, like me, this is why I enjoy where I'm at, because I'm able to look back and say, wow, I've come a long way, made a lot of mistakes. Just a quick side example. And this is, it's similar, but it's my hobby, the beekeeping, right?
Okay.
We end up in these, I love to go, this is my escape once a month, go to this beekeepers meeting locally, and we all talk about what we're doing right and wrong with the bees. And the guy that used to lead the meeting, he would say, well, you don't want to blah, blah. And he's very Cajun sounding. He's got that Boudreaux sound. And he says, you don't want to do this with your queens, because all the bees will die. And I would say, how do you know, Bruce? He goes, oh, I know. Because all his bees died and at that time. So that's kind of where we are in the hair business. When we say you don't want to, some of us stay a little arrogant and pompous and never actually mention how we know. None of us know because we heard, because we don't believe what we hear. We don't believe it till we make that mistake ourselves. And we're like, oh, that will make all of her hair fall out. You never want to do this because the hair will fall out. How do you know? Well,
Bernard,
don't want to get sued, so I'm probably not going to talk about it.
I was taking a special color education class for myself yesterday. I was doing a one-on-one, and the instructor that I'm working with, he sent me some lightener to play with and some developer to play with. So I read the instructions and I go, yeah, shut up, nerd. I mix it my way. It doesn't work. And I'm going, this product sucks. I'm like, definitely going to have to write this down and have a chat with him about that, you know? So then I'm sitting there looking at the instructions again. I'm going, I ain't doing that. So I go back and I try to refix it my way.
Again.
It works a little better, but not as intended. Now I'm sitting there. I'm having my class with him yesterday. We're sitting there. We're doing our one-on-one, you know, and he's doing his mentorship with me. He's asking me questions and stuff. And I'm going, how are you supposed to mix this? And he goes, I sent you the instructions. Did you not read them? I'm like, no, I read them.
Oh, yeah. I think you wrote them wrong.
I think He's like, what did you do? I'm like, well, I did this. This happened. He goes, tell me you didn't do that on a real person. You practice on a mannequin. We talked about this. You're going to practice on a mannequin. I'm like, client mannequin. I'm like,
Did you do it? It was a client?
Oh, I flat out told her that I'm probably going to mess up her hair. I'll fix it for free.
Yeah.
But and this is what I tell my clients. I go, look.
So it was a client.
Oh, 100%.
And so did you eventually do it like the directions said and it came out good? Or not
no,
yet?
Well, I had my class yesterday. So now this weekend, I got to go back and do it the right way and see what the difference is.
So can you see how the way he's describing might work better, or you still don't believe it till you try it? You still got your doubts. That's how I felt about flat bonds when we were first doing.
My smile says it all, doesn't it?
The K-tips, the keratin tips. Remember when Antonio brought the world educator in from Italy? He didn't speak English. He was speaking through a translator. But by the third year, we're doing the New York Hair Show. And by the third year, he had got a few words down. He got Bernard, no.
No.
Bernard, no. I'm like, I'm pretty good in the world of extensions. I don't really like being told no.
Right.
And he's showing me, and somebody goes, what he's trying to explain to you guys is we're going to do flat bonds this year. I'm like, what is that? We're the hair show's tomorrow. We can't change how we do this and teach the world overnight, but we did. And I didn't. And he's like, your tool's too hot. You're trying to rush it. We're not rolling it. And I was like, oh my God, we turned the tool down. It's going to be so slow. I thought he was so wrong. There's no way you can use less heat and go faster. But it actually went faster and better. And I've told that story recently, but didn't make sense in my head. Just do what he's telling you to do. He's obviously been there and done it, and something's working right for him. Why would I go against it? Why do we do that?
We have to learn ourselves. That's just a curiosity angle comes in, and a little bit of pride and ego involved in there too sometimes.
So
and that kills the myth of, oh, I don't need education. I can figure it out. Hair extensions are easy to do, and I can figure it out. So those are all a couple of examples of why that mentality is so wrong.
I'll let you do tape-ins. Yeah, just go do tape-ins.
Just go do tape-ins then, right? Because, those are the safest ones, Bernard. That's another myth, or is it fact? Is that the only real accurate one, that tape-in extensions are the safest, best hair extensions?
No. Oh my God, no. What drove me crazy was I did something on AI one time. I wrote an article and I thought, I just wrote kind of short because I'm not a big writer. And then I asked AI to make it a 500-word article for a magazine I'm writing for. And then I read it, and it adds all this stuff in about tape-ins being the best, safest extensions for fine, thin hair. And that was the early days of AI. And I was so mad. I was like, it's not true. AI. And, then after that, you hear people saying, well, AI doesn't know, it doesn't have experience, it doesn't create knowledge. It's just taking all the knowledge, or I say knowledge, all the things written on the internet between certain years, and then just
summarizing it. Yeah.
Summarizes it, words it really well, punctuation's really good. It makes it real organized and easy to understand. And so it's got its place, but a lot of hairdressers ignorantly are saying tape-ins are the best extensions out there for fine, thin hair. So AI thinks that. And then when I read it, this happens to be one of the areas I know a lot about in hair. I was one of the very early adopters of a style of tape-in and used a lot of tape-ins, but there's just no way it was the best. It is a technique. It had a time and a place, but far from the best. It was the best at being able to get it on at any beauty supply or Amazon or Temu, it was the best and easiest to get anywhere and the fastest, easiest to do. But it kind of reminds me of and I think it's worse actually, but it kind of reminds me of the hairdressers that are against cap highlights. They're like, you do a cap highlight? How old fashioned are you? The clients can buy a cap at the store and do it themselves. Same thing with tape-ins. same thing. They can do tape-ins on themselves and to each other's. So that isn't the only reason I don't think you should do tape-ins as a professional. I just think that there's not many good things about tape-ins. And so why? When there's so many much better options. I don't think much fits in that
Many
sentence.
more.
Yeah.
Oh, I get to teach you English today. Many more. Yes. That's right.
I was going to say there's much better options. There are many more options. And I was trying to blend those two together. But there's so many more options than tape-ins, so many better options. Why ever use them? And one day we might sell them. So I know I'm going to eat these words because so many people want them. And you can do them sometimes, but it's rarely the first best option for a client.
Well, then the last professional myth that's still standing out there is you got to get them close to the scalp, Bernard. If you don't get them close enough to the scalp, then it's not a good job. Look at how grown out they look.
Yeah.
And so this comes down to when we teach classes, we're purposefully teaching to stay at least an eighth to a quarter inch away from the scalp. Do not, under any condition, under any circumstance, regardless of which type of technique or style of extensions you're using, go directly to the scalp. It's the worst idea. You're going to lose 10 out of 10 every time. You're going to lose.
Well,
it is not
maybe RJ could link that reaction video we did a few weeks ago, because that was all about us showing a girl 5 years ago as an educator for a company. And we tried not to show the company name, but it's in the background and all over the place. It's just sad. Hopefully that person is better at extensions now and just was early on and didn't know, but it was like right against the scalp. And the best way I can describe, I mean, this is what you're talking about is also true of I like to say row extensions, because a tape-in is similar to a mini weft. So you got individual strand extensions, and it's not an individual hair, but we call them individual strands for some reason, which covers K-tips, I-tips, O-tips, all of the ones where it's just a little tiny little grouping of hair, and then the rows or tracks or wefts. But there's other things like wefts, right? And so you can do this wrong with a weft or a tape-in also, but it's easier to understand if we talk just about an individual strand. And I don't care if it's a K-tip, an I-tip, or an O-tip. Imagine that extension is going in like one of two things that we're all very familiar with: a high ponytail or a low ponytail. Immediately, most girls and some guys that have worn ponytails, which one is your head more sore after a few hours of wearing? You wear it all day and then you come home. Yeah, right. That should be proof right there, because that's the bad angle, that an extension that's put too close to the head, it causes that hair to pop out of the head. And it's so cute on a little workout ponytail. I love it. In a ponytail, a hair popping out like that, it's a cutesy little, it's dangling, it has a lot more movement. And when a person's playing tennis and they got their hair in that, you see that hair flopping around, and it's very girly. And some people double wrap it to hold it still. But you let that down and you're like, oh, it feels good. Because there's tension on the scalp, on hairs that were not meant, especially the ones all on the bottom that are pulled up to it, are not meant to go in that direction. And so with a miniature extension that's put right up against the head, it's like a high ponytail. Where a low ponytail, all the hair in a natural fall, you're just gathering all the hair and putting it together. Between that ponytail holder and the scalp, there's that space. That's what makes it so comfortable. So that low, traditional, almost professional, almost timeless, if dressed up right, you can almost use that as a formal look. You can never do a high ponytail as a formal look. You have to do some kind of curls and make it look like a bun and some other things to make it look more formal. But just a high ponytail, just think about it like that. It's not dressy. It's not right for an extension feeling or look. Whereas that low ponytail, all the hairs are hanging in the way. Yeah, the ones on the side are slightly off to the back, but not enough to cause tension and pain. So everything's pulled kind of down the way hair wants to grow, towards gravity, put into a grouping. And then that's how the extension in little sections should be done. So there should be that little bit of space. So it kind of hangs like a natural, professional, timeless, what was that other word I used? Like a dressy ponytail.
Like a dressy, yeah.
Yeah.
So that covers, so we've covered basic general mitts. We've covered stylist, professional mitts. Now we got to talk about clients and trends. So client myth is hair extensions. You shouldn't touch them. You shouldn't brush them. You should just leave them alone. They'll magically take care of themselves.
Right. That's what the clients think.
Well, again, I've got a collection of things that clients complain about the most. And this is something I harp on all the time. It's expectation. If you don't know what you don't know, and if the stylist didn't explain it to you, then unfortunately you don't know. The other problem, what happens is I find that a client's been wearing hair extensions for a very long time, so they get used to it. And then they start getting complacent with it. And then usually they can get by, and every couple of months, right now we're in a massive heat wave up by us in Chicago. We're in a massive heat wave.
How hot is heat wave for you guys?
It's freaking 94 degrees. Okay.
Okay.
And the humidity's at 60%. We're getting flash rain. It's like Florida right now. We're getting rain for like 10 minutes and then it stops. Right. So yeah, we've got higher than usual humidity for this area. We've got higher than usual temperatures consistently for this area. And all you hear the clients talking about, right? My grass is burned and my hair won't do this and my hair won't do that. And I'm sticky and I'm sweaty, and nobody's in the mood to do anything. Everybody's crabby. I know that's a regular cool evening for you guys, 90 degrees with 60% humidity down in Louisiana.
We have 100% humidity.
No, like I said, I understand that's a cool evening for you to go sit outside and go for a stroll.
Would be welcome, right?
But up here, people are losing their freaking minds.
Right.
Right. So now, as it goes, people are calling. Oh, my hair extensions aren't doing what they usually do. Nobody's hair is doing anything what it usually does right now. Your hair extensions are not special. So
right. They're complaining also.
Right. And it's showing you the best way it knows how. It's frizzing the hell out on you. You need to run a brush and a blow dryer and put some product in there.
Yeah. And I don't have a lot to say about this one. My favorite is just that I don't know why I'm having problems with my hair. I have done nothing to it.
I've done nothing to it. Yeah. That's my favorite.
Wow.
I never do anything to it.
I haven't even touched it. I don't understand. How could it be so tangled? I don't do anything. I've done nothing. So it can't be me because I didn't do
I don't
anything.
Brush it. I don't wash it. I only air dry it when I do wash it. I never touch it with heat or a flat iron because I've heard that's bad. Yeah.
I know we both hate the bad batch. I got the text yesterday. Girls having a little trouble with her extensions.
That's another myth. There's too many bad batches.
And I haven't heard it in a little while, so I was kind of excited. If I hear it a few times in a week, I think maybe we do have a bad batch. Is it all the same color? Is it all the same texture? What are the bad batch comment? Even 2 or 3 people. I'm like, is it all the same color? Oh, maybe we do have a bad batch,
If you heard it from 2 or 3 people about the same color.
Yeah, or same texture. Right. But this one happens to be a little dry and tangly, but mostly it's way too curly. I ordered the She Hair wavy extensions. It's never been this curly. But she sends pictures and it just looks like the normal wave. So how do you argue with that? It's like, it looks right.
It's sorry. Wavy. You wanted wavy. Yeah. It's wavy.
It's wavy. The straight hair is slightly wavy. The wavy hair is pretty
that's
wavy.
Natural body. Yeah, right.
Yeah. So she said, I've been ordering for a long time, but I think they think we're stupid on our end. I'm like, you actually have not ordered for a very long time and recently picked back up on your orders. So maybe you forgot which textures you switched back to us. Maybe our line the names are all a little wavier or curlier than what you're getting from this other company, because our straight hair is kind of wavy. Maybe the straight hair from the last company you ordered from is actually silky straight, which
right? Yeah.
rarely even happens in our country, which blends with almost nobody's hair. So it's just a terrible choice, in my opinion. Yeah. So anyway, and do you have a next one?
You should just leave oil in your hair. Now, again, this is
motor oil.
Motor. Oh, man. I was doing a hair show. I was on stage in New Jersey, and we pulled people from the audience and we started styling their hair on stage. This one stylist, she volunteers to come up. I'm trying to comb through her hair, and as I'm combing through her hair, my hair is sopping wet. And I'm going,
hair. You mean your brush or your hand?
Or is it my comb, my styling comb that I was brushing her hair out with was sopping wet. And I'm going,
what is
I didn't spray her down. Like, what the hell? And I'm looking at this, and my stage partner is going, Eddie, you're going to start flat ironing? I'm like, no, I need another volunteer. They're like, do me. I'm like, what is in your hair? Oh, nothing. I haven't put anything in it today. That should have been my clue. I hit it with the flat iron. It's sizzling and smoking. And I'm going, I've seen this before. Where have I seen this before? This is not good. Next section, sizzling and smoking again. And I'm going,
well, the hair must have been greasy, oily.
No, I'm going, I smell bacon. Is this bacon? Do you have bacon
in
your
hair? What does she have in her hair? What does she have in her hair?
Olive oil.
Olive oil.
Virgin olive oil. She put it in the night before, the 2 nights before, or something like that. And it's been in her hair for like a day or two. That's why she had said that day she had not put anything in her hair.
I often wonder which one of those home remedies are any good or should be actually done. Because you've got everything from mayonnaise to beer to olive oil, motor oil,
egg whites. Eggs. Yes. Look, there are a lot of home remedies. Okay. And they do have validity to them. They all do something. I'll give you that. They do. Because when you look,
I wouldn't say all, some.
I'm going to say it this way. When you look at professional products have extracts of a lot of these home remedies type ingredients in them.
Okay.
But they have extracts of those that are combined with other ingredients as well. And together in harmony, in different ratios, they do a very targeted thing. What people don't understand is the amount of home ingredients that you need to saturate your hair with, and the time that it takes for your hair to absorb that is so exponentially ridiculous and expensive. Okay, you putting 1 egg in your hair, you would have to put 1 egg in your hair every single day for a month straight and leave it on for an hour and then rinse it out for you to get the benefit from the yolk that everybody is talking about. Or you could put conditioner in your hair for 3 freaking minutes every 48 hours. Okay.
That's a good point. I never heard it put like that before.
Eggs cost $17,000 freaking dollars right now.
Right.
Okay. What are you doing? And you stink. I hate to tell you, you smell, man. It's not right.
Right.
Go buy a bottle of professional conditioner. When I say professional conditioner, go to your hair salon, buy it from your stylist, pay the $20, $30 and use a fingertip amount. If your hair is chin length, use 2 fingertips amount. If your hair is a little bit past your collarbone, okay? And if you have thick, coarse hair, you know who you are, then use 3 fingertip amount. It's that much concentrated.
You did that. Did you mean that when you went to 3?
3, I get excited. Okay. You know, you don't need to be sitting there squeezing. What do people talk about? Dollar amount and silver dollars and grapes and pomegranates and whatever the size of fruits everybody's talking about. You got your finger, look, out of your 10 fingers, I hope you still have one left. You can find a fingertip.
I've never heard it done with the fingertip. That's a good idea. Short, medium, long hair.
Everybody's talking about like dime size amount and this size amount and that size amount. Just draw a line across it with your bottle. Get it done. It's concentrated. That's what it's for. You leave it on 3 minutes. 5 minutes is perfect. Rinse it out. Go about your life. Save yourself some money and some time and actually make a difference proactively with the effort that you're putting in to have good hair.
That's good. That's probably going to be a short.
I get worked up, man. I get so worked up. They tell me they're making a tossed salad out of themselves. And I'm like, for the love of God,
oh my God, I know.
Leave the kitchen alone and cook food in there. You know?
You know, I think you're right. Because even in my life, in some aspects, like let's just say a minor, I like the idea of prepping. You know, like, oh, I'd like to have solar so I get off the grid. I'd like to have chickens so I don't have to depend on. But all that stuff ends up being more expensive for the most part. Because I mean, getting solar panels and the batteries, it's not cheaper than the electric company right now. I'm trying to grow vegetables, and the $35,000 tractor, I'm going to have to get a lot of years of vegetables for the tractor to be worth the amount of vegetables I could have just bought. So although it's fun and it's relaxing and it's a hobby, and that's the real excuse, I mean, I could probably buy honey cheaper than it costs to have these bees that I make honey from. One day, they might pay themselves off.
The balance between time and effort versus monetary value. That's life.
Right.
And like you said it perfectly. If it's your hobby and you're getting enjoyment out of it, then you're getting a value. You're getting equivalent exchange.
Yeah.
For the time and effort you're putting in. But these trends that go viral, it just makes me mental sometimes. So I don't know. And that's the thing. You
got any more?
Yeah, you know, sleeping in a top knot is so pulling everything up on top and then sleeping in a top knot for hair extensions.
I've never heard that one before. Sleeping in general is surprisingly tough on hair, and I don't think a lot of people realize that. Mm-hmm. We're not there for it. It feels like, you know, we don't video or watch ourselves sleeping, so we don't have any idea how much tossing and turning and moving and obviously with us, our hair's much shorter. It probably isn't as much wear and tear in our hair. But can you imagine having hair halfway down your back and you roll over 2 or 3 times? You're going to be like this with hair across your face. So I do agree and believe some sort of control of the hair, but just think about the sleeping. Where should the hair be? What should the hair look like? What should the hair feel like? In general, we've always said dry and controlled. You know, that's the most basic part of it. I've never really distinguished whether a top knot I mean, I had to go back to the high ponytail, low ponytail. I think a low ponytail is going to be way more comfortable and safer, but I get the top knot because they're thinking you don't want to lay on it if you're laying on your back.
That's the whole thing. Like so for a woman, bunching up your hair at the base of your neck and then trying to put your head on the pillow, that's going to be grinding into the base of your neck. So it causes discomfort. I get that. The whole thing with the top knot is don't make it tight directly onto your head.
True.
If you're going to pull everything up, tie it off loose. I understand that if you tie it off loose, it's going to loosen up throughout the night and it's going to go all over the place. And when you wake up in the morning, it's going to look like crazy. But the problem is if you pull everything straight up and you tie it off tight, just like we're talking about the high ponytail, low ponytail in your example, Bernard, you know, the tension, the amount of tension and over direction that you're pulling to bring everything up to the top is not good. So if you got to pull it up and then keep it tight enough to keep it collected, but loose enough where it's not pulling. So then this way, when you go to sleep, it's more comfortable. I get it. That one I'll give you. I'll give any woman that wants to do that. But then you got to brush it out in the morning. You can't just tilt your head over and just rip it out. You got to hold it, take it out nicely, shake it out, and then brush it out nicely too. Otherwise, you're going to be asking for a hot tangled mess, you know? So
those silk or satin, elastic,
or those wraps. Yeah.
all kinds of different, there's a lot of different names for it. I didn't want to put one name on it, but right, to just control the hair. That's going to help too, because it's going to be a little softer slide inside there. So as you lay on your hair, it's going to be less abrasive and a softer, and it's controlling. But you're right. I think the most important thing in the morning is with a, depending on what tool or brush you're using, or comb or wide tooth comb, we sell good extension brushes. It doesn't mean everybody's going to buy it or use it, but the point is getting through all the tangles. And you can't just use a regular comb or a brush, because it's going to get caught in between the extensions. Now there's a push for a brush and there's a drag for a comb or a brush. And if you're dragging over the top, it's not as aggressive. It's not going to get as deep, but it's a good start to brush over the top. But what most people are not brushing is this area really well. So you've got to pick up your hair and brush those underneath sections, or use a style brush that we have that has the firmer and softer, similar to a boar bristle brush, but it's a bristle brush, a soft bristle brush with a soft cushion backing under the bristles, so that you can get some deep penetration and detangle that hair. Because hair extensions tangling is one of the biggest problems, because people think or feel, I have so much hair now, I don't know what to do with it. Maybe if I do less bad will happen. No, you have to keep it detangled. You have to keep the tangles out, or it's going to turn into a knotted, matted mess. And that's another thing that gives us the bad name that extensions are damaging. No, you didn't keep it detangled. You let it get all matted up. Then you went to your hairdresser, and the only way they could get it out was to cut it out. So now you look like a dog that has mange, and you blame the hairdresser because you didn't keep it detangled. Sorry. Did I go too far with that one?
No, it's unfortunately, it's very accurate, you know,
Right.
It's very, very accurate.
And I do love those videos. I love watching the mats just get cut out. I'm like, it's so satisfying to me, but I'm also like, oh God, that's got to be so tough for that girl to be losing all that hair that she could have just kept detangled and she'd still have it. There's some unfortunate events. Now, listen, some people get some sort of sickness, laid up in the hospital. They're not able to leave the hospital bed for a week or two, and they come out and their hair's a mess. That's an unfortunate event. You do end up trying to get the mats out the best you can. And one of the things I always recommend that I never see on the internet is cutting into the mats towards the head and trying to detangle. Because it's almost like thinning or texturing, and most people just cut them right off and you just have blunt cuts. You can cut into the mats this way and then start trying to comb and brush, and you'll save a lot of hair. And it'll just look like it's ultra thinned. And so there's like minimizing damage, minimizing the badness of what happened. If you want to take the time to do it, most people just don't. So I just thought I'd throw that out there.
No, look, and there are many more myths. Those are the most common ones that to this day, people still run into, and they're still talking about, and they're still asking questions about, and they're still discussing about it. We get them in classes. We hear them at the salon. We see them online on the forums. So wanted to go through them a little bit, shed some light on them. Hopefully it makes a little more sense. Get the word out there.
Yeah.
What are some of the myths that you still believe or you've heard of and you're not sure if you should believe? Throw them in the comments. Let's hear them.
For a second, I thought you were asking me, and I was like, well, if I still believe it, I don't know if I don't think it's
the audience. Yeah, right. If you still believe it, it must be a fact, right?
We definitely went to the moon. You know, that's one that has surfaced lately. You better take us off before I get into my conspiracy theories.
Thank you all for watching, everybody. We'll catch you next week.